moving into 2023. We are already in the beginning of January. What do you think? What is your opinion on earnings momentum, and what do you foresee for 2023?
Yes. So again, in 2023, I think the whole scenario has remained the same as 2022, right? People are still worried about profitability. Interest rates are high, right? So you have to be profitable in this scenario, and you have to build a moat for yourself. You have to have good margins to compete in this market, right? Everybody is across the board, from mature companies to startups has started focusing on profitability at this point in time, right? So I think that earning momentum will continue to be a strong strategy, right? It will continue to have a lot of predicted power in 2023 also, which is why we have included this strategy in our models.
Hi everybody, welcome to a fresh video where we'll share the recent updates of what we are up to at Wright Research. This is Alina from Wright Research, and today we have Sonam Srivastava, CEO and founder at Wright Research, who will walk us through the recent changes that we have made to our portfolios. So hi Sonam, how are you doing?
Hi Alina, I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing good too. So to give you some context, some of you must have noticed that we've added earnings momentum as a factor in our portfolios. And to get more idea, we are recording this video to help you understand what exactly is earnings momentum and why we've added this. So, Sonam, to begin with, what exactly is earnings momentum? And could you give us some context on that?
Definitely. Like in a price momentum strategy, we are trying to chase trends in stock prices. Similarly, in earnings momentum, we are trying to chase trends in earnings, right? So the idea is that, the earning momentum strategy expects that any company that has been doing consistently high earnings will continue to do that in the future, right? So that's why this particular strategy is betting on that. The idea is that stocks that give you consistently, high earning results will continue to do well, as in terms of stock prices also. So that is what sort of this earning momentum strategy tries to do. It is an understandable thing, right? Like as investors, we understand that any stock that is giving consistently high earnings is a valuable stock and we should be investing into it. And that is what the philosophy behind this strategy is.
Okay. So what I infer here is that earning momentum means picking stocks based on earnings trend, right? How exactly can we understand it, and how is earnings momentum calculated?
Definitely. So you said it correctly, right? You said it perfectly well that, earnings momentum is picking stocks based on earnings trend, right? We think that the pattern of earning growth is going to repeat, and that's why we are sort of betting on these stocks, right? But, when we say earning growth, how do you understand it, right? You can understand earning growth as, a pattern of growth in the, EPS, right? The earning per share of the stock, right? Let's say the stock posted earning per share of 10 today, and next time it posted a 20% increase on that. So that's the earning momentum that it has. It has a 20% momentum in earnings, right? So it's a very simple concept to understand if you look at it that way. But there is no set definition of earning momentum. You can look at pattern in sales growth, right? So revenue of a stock might grow at a certain pace, and you can take that pace as a earning momentum. Similarly, some people might look at the growth of dividend, some people might look at the growth of margin, some people might look at a growth of other factors. And another idea here, Alina, is that the element of surprise in earnings, right? So a lot of us, what we do is we form an estimate in our head, right? That this is how the earning is going to look like. And if a stock, sort of outperforms that earning, then, there is a big surprise and people start buying it, right? So I think that is also a type of factor that people sort of look at when trying to come up with a earning momentum or a earning trend.
Okay, sounds great. You talked about earning surprise towards the end. How does one estimate earnings? Can you give us some context on that also?
Yes, Arina. So, Arina, that is a job that all the analysts in the world are doing, right? Everyone that you see on the news or anybody who is sort of analyzing the stock market, is trying to do that in their own way. Some people, might be looking at macroeconomic factors, or some people might be looking at industry trends, right? And whereas some other guys might be following that stocks news very, very actively, maybe visiting their factories and trying to see, how the stock is performing on the ground, right? So there are various ways through which people try to estimate, what the earning is going to look like in the future, right? And obviously, there are hundreds of factors that impact earning, and actually hundreds of factors can be studied when trying to estimate these earnings.
Okay, sounds great. And how do you think are these estimates useful?
Yeah, so these estimates, if they are, so see, at the end of the day, when you estimate something, that is the view that you have formed in your head, right? And if you see that view, that stock price break that view, right? When the earning sort of comes and it has outperformed your view, then you are positively surprised, and you can be like, oh, it's an amazing story, and people will start buying into it. Similarly, what might happen is that, let's say, you have formed a particular estimate now, right? That I think the earning is going to be 10 rupees per share. And suddenly something happens on the stock and you have had to revise your earning estimate. You think that, oh, now I think it has to be 12, right? So that revision itself is a factor that tells you that, okay, the earnings are going to get better, right? So that is also, a revision is also a good factor to look at when you're looking at earning estimates. Similarly, you could be looking at the broader industry and sector and looking at, how the whole sector as a whole is performing with the help of these estimates. So, estimates have a lot of use across the world.
Sounds like estimates are a crucial, play a crucial role. Moving on, Sonam, let's talk about growth stocks. What is the right way to analyze growth stocks?
Yes. So Alina, again, the earning momentum strategy that we are talking about, a lot of people actually like to call this strategy a growth strategy also, right? So earning momentum is also sometimes called growth strategy. And there are various ways to look at growth, right? So we talked about, we gave an example of earning and revenue growth, right? If the earning is rising at a certain pace, that is the earning growth. If revenue is rising at a certain pace, that is revenue growth. Some people might look at the profit margins, like, if the profit margins are increasing for a particular company, then that's a sign of growth, right? Similarly, the valuation that the company is able to show, if that is rising for whatever reason, then it's a sign of growth. And then you might also look at strategic moves that the management is making to sort of incur growth, and that becomes a slightly complicated topic, but that could also be a good tool to find out growth stocks, right? So there are a number of different ways in which you can analyze and find growth stocks.
Great. Now let's talk about price momentum a little bit and see how momentum strategy is different from price momentum. So we have a popular momentum strategy that is particularly based on price momentum. How is earning momentum different from price momentum?
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, we like Wright Research is actually very well known for our price momentum strategy, right? And earning momentum is also, try at the end of the day following some sort of momentum, but it is different from price momentum, right? A price momentum strategy is not looking at the fundamentals of the company, right? It's just following the price. Whereas the earning momentum is just looking at the profitability or sort of the earnings growth, right? So how that might be different? See, at the end of the day, prices are defined by earnings, right? So these two strategies might be very, very highly related. But Alina, what also happens is that a lot of these, global scenarios or some macroeconomic event or some, other events in the market also impact prices, right? Whereas they might not impact earning that much, right? So price momentum is not just a function of earnings; it can have other things going for it also, right? So I think that is the difference that these two things have.
Got it. Understood. I think that makes sense. Um, Moving on, can you tell us more about the performance of earnings momentum and how that has been in 2022?
Yes, I think this is the most important point, Alina, right? And that's why we are talking about this strategy today, right? Uh, so if you look at the last year's performance, right? If you look at the performance of different factors in 2022, you would see that uh, the earning momentum strategy has actually outperformed the price momentum strategy by a margin, right? And why do you think that has happened? Uh, because last year what happened, we were going through a lot of volatility, right? People were worried about a lot of things, right? So when people are going through volatility or some sort of bear market, at the end of the day they start focusing on stock that are actually giving you numbers, right? At the end of the day they don't care about people who are giving high valuation. They are looking at the balance sheet and the income statement, seeing what your earning is, right? So I think because of this volatility and increased focus on profitability, this strategy is performing much better in 2022. And
Yeah, that sounds good. But moving into 2023, we are already in the beginning of January. What do you think? What is your opinion on earnings momentum, and what do you foresee for 2023?
yes, so again in 2023, I think the whole scenario has remained the same as 2022, right? People are still worried about profitability. Interest rates are high, right? So you have to be profitable in this scenario, and you have to build a moat for yourself. You have to have good margins to compete in this market, right? Everybody is across the board, from mature companies to startups, has started focusing on profitability at this point in time, right? So I think that earning momentum will continue to be a strong strategy, right? It will continue to have a lot of predicted power in 2023 also, which is why we have included this strategy in our models.
Nice. And on that note, which stocks, according to you, are expected to have strong earnings momentum in 2023?
Yes, Alina. So I think the earning season is just starting, right? The earning season starts in January, the Q3 earnings, right? And what we are expecting is that all your, banking stocks, which are already doing so well, will continue to give high earnings. They will be the winners of this earning season. Similarly, you will have a few commodity stocks, which will, because they will see their margins improve because oil prices have gone down. They will do well, and other industries like paper, etc., are also expected to do good in terms of earnings. So, these will be our picks for the earning season.
Sounds great. Let's now move on to our models and portfolios. So you said that we have included earnings momentum in our models, right? What exactly has been the change in the momentum and other models?
Yeah, so when we include earning momentum, it brings in the element of earning momentum to all of our models, right? And I think that is the big change that has happened. So we have done some research on earning momentum, included those factors into our existing models, right? And like we say that 2023 might be a good time to do earning momentum more than price momentum, right? And I think that's one of the reasons why we have included these models. And yeah, so now I think our models will also look at momentum in earnings apart from only momentum in prices.
Sounds great. And I think we're looking at a good change going forward, right? Now, when we talk about earnings, we should also, talk a little bit about budget. And on that note, what is your expectation from the budget of 2023?
Yeah, so I think budget 2023 is going to be a big event coming up soon, right? In less than a month's time, right? And I think it is going to govern a lot of things going forward, right? So a lot of the prices that we'll see trending will be those stocks that are going to gain because of the budget, right? And the announcements in the budget are going to define what's going to happen after the announcements, right? Uh, so I think, see, based on the analysis of various analysts and what the finance minister has talked about, they will continue to focus on capital expenditure. They will put focus on manufacturing, right? But still, I think they will not spend a lot. You see, this is the election, just the budget before election, right? In India. So people expect the government to spend a lot, right? Because, it's before the election. But what might end up happen as per analyst is that they will not maybe do that much expenditure. They will be a little bit conservative because the global economy is so volatile that you can't spend too much at this point in time, right? So that is what might happen. And they will put focus on manufacturing and PLI schemes and all these sectors.
Sounds perfect. I think that is some great insight into what the 2023 budget would look like. As we move to a close, Sonam, can you help us understand and all your audience understand how people can invest in earnings momentum with Wright Research?
Definitely, Alina. So we have added earning momentum as a factor in our strategies, right? So we have added it to the momentum strategy. We have added it to the balance strategy, and we have added it to our small cap strategy also, right? So if somebody is looking to invest into the earning momentum strategy, they can just go to our website. Let me also show that to you, right? So they can just go to our website. There they can go to our equity portfolios. In the list of our equity portfolios, they'll find all these strategies that we're talking about. The momentum strategy is the one, which includes earning momentum, and they can click on invest now here, and they can invest into this strategy via the the integration that we have with the small case gateway API. So it's a very similar flow like small case, but it is totally native on our website. If they don't want to go through that, if they just want to get those allocation, then they can go to the manual flow. And when they subscribe from here, they will just get those allocations and they can trade it on their own. So it's a very quick and simple way for them to invest with the strategy.
This looks very interesting, and I'm sure that our audience will be intrigued to try Wright Research as well. So thank you so much, Sonam, for speaking to us about earnings momentum today. And I'm sure that our audience would have taken a lot back from this talk, and they would have learned a lot more about earnings momentum that they previously knew. So thank you so much for talking to me, and I hope that we'll keep bringing such informative talks for our audience over and over again.
Definitely, yeah.
To everybody who's watching this video, thank you so much for tuning in with us. Give us a big fat thumbs up if you like this video, and please don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Stay notified for all our updates, and thank you so much. We'll be back with many more such interesting videos for you. Bye bye.